So what makes OpenSciEd unique in PocketLab Notebook? PocketLab Notebook is an innovative digital platform that makes it easy to deliver high-quality curriculum, perform hands-on labs, engage in class discussions, and review and monitor student work, among many other things. So what does an OpenSciEd unit look like in Notebook? So here you can see kind of the structure. We have our kind of getting started and unit overview materials. So we took all of the teacher materials that you'll need to teach OpenSciEd and tried to organize them a little bit better. You can also find in each of these lessons, each day of instruction. So students will have one assignment in Notebook for each day of instruction. So this is all compared to the OpenSciEd units in Google Docs or in Google Drive, where everything's organized into folders. There's just kind of a bunch of documents, kind of all over the place. And then each lesson for students is made up of a student procedure, teacher edition, and then a number of handouts and other references that you'll need to print and get to students. Some that are for teachers to use as a reference. So we tried to organize things and make it a little bit easier to use, where all of your teacher materials are in this unit overview and in this teacher guide. So jumping in here, you can find links to the documents that you'll need, kind of when you need them. Some of the documents will be embedded so you can see them more easily, like this unit storyline that gives you an intro about what you're going to be doing in this unit. Webinars from OpenSciEd are embedded right in the platform, so you can review this ahead of time and see what this unit is all about, as well as the materials and kind of everything you'll need to get set up for teaching this unit. And then for each lesson in those teacher guides, we took all of the information from those teacher editions and other documents and put those into a notebook lesson that you can review kind of top to bottom and see everything that you need before you teach one of these lessons. So your learning plan that you can use for reference, your slides for the lessons, as well as other kind of teacher information. You also find the materials for each unit, any prep you have to do before, as well as little overviews for each day of instruction. We also link to all of the original handouts, so if you do decide that you want students to have a printed handout for any of these lessons, we link to all of those so you can find them easily. But all of the student materials and handouts have all been included in these assignments for each day. So you give a student one notebook assignment, and they'll have digital versions of all of the handouts and all of the student procedures in one place where students can work just top to bottom and have everything they need to see. So in this lesson, this is day 1 of 6th grade. Students will be watching this video to see a phenomenon about one-way mirrors. Then students can record what they notice and wonder in a chart, either digitally, or again, we include options for students to record on paper if you'd like. Students can easily upload images of charts they draw on paper, so that's always an option in Notebook. Then for every handout, we've embedded those here. So this is an example of a little drawing tool, so students can draw kind of what's going on in this video, make their initial models. Or again, students could draw this on paper, on the paper handout, and upload an image to Notebook if you prefer. Some other cool features in Notebook. There's different ways for students to respond. So students can work in groups, or they can work individually, or they can even discuss things as a whole class. So in this class, this whole class respond option, students will see answers from each other, from everyone in the class, as they're kind of brainstorming how they could model this phenomenon. And another cool feature here, all of this content is fully editable, so you can click into any of these cards and you can make any changes. If you wanted to add another question here or kind of change this prompt a little bit, you can click into any of the cards and make any changes, either for all of your classes or for individual classes or even for individual groups or students. Clicking any of these plus buttons, you can add content. So these are all the content types that are in Notebook. So in addition to those class discussions, you can have group discussions where students will only see answers from their group mates, or just short answers where each student will answer individually. So this opens up things where students could work in a group to collect some data and some kind of hands-on experiment, but then each student would write an individual conclusion about that experiment. There's also multiple choice questions that you can add into these lessons. So you can add a few answers, you can mark answers as correct, and then even add a little bit of automation so students will get a hint if they select an incorrect answer or get a message when they answer correctly. And as a teacher, you can review all of the student progress as they're doing it. In those lessons that do have hands-on labs, there's procedures to use PocketLab sensors to collect data. So if you do use a PocketLab sensor, you can connect them right in these lessons. So I have a sensor measuring light intensity here. So as students are measuring how light reflects off of maybe a mirror versus glass versus a one-way mirror, they can collect data with a PocketLab sensor. So here I'm just covering up the sensor and uncovering it, and we're seeing this graph change in real time. Then I can also record a trial, have something happen, click stop, and I could save this data right in this lesson. So students can record multiple trials for their experiments and easily review graphs of their data. Then maybe students would organize their data on a chart. So what did the light do? Did it transmit? Did it reflect? Or did it do something else? And then how much light transmitted? How much reflected? So maybe putting the sensor in a different location on different sides of a one-way mirror or glass. They'll see different amounts of light coming through. And then after you've assigned these to students, you can review student progress. So here's an example of a lesson that's been assigned to students, and this is a dashboard that you can see. So in this group of students, we can see 3 students have worked on the assignment, 1 student hasn't opened it at all. And then we can click into any of their assignments and review their work. So I can click into Albert's, and I can see any changes that he's made in this lesson. So here's this diagram. You can see, okay, they've annotated it. This person is seeing their reflection, but this person is seeing through. And students can add some kind of text. Maybe they're not finished working here yet. But then as a teacher, you can add these comments and give them feedback in real time as they're working on it. Or after they've turned it in, you can give them some feedback and then give it back to them for them to make improvements. If students are working in lab groups together, they'll see all of each other's changes. So 2 students could work on this diagram together and add things and annotate it as well. If you do want to use the platform remotely, that is also an option. So students, if one student can't make it to class, you can have them work through these assignments from home. They'll still see the work from their group mates, or you can assign it to them individually, and they can work through it that way. Really, everything students need to complete the lesson is in the lessons. So students can watch this video, they can respond to the prompts, they can get through everything, even if they're not in class, they can't see the slides. They can still work on this stuff. So those are just a few of the things that make OpenSciEd great in PocketLab Notebook. We've made quality of life improvements in every single day of instruction, so we've made these as easy to use as possible. And there's even more platform features that are going to be coming out throughout the school year that will continue to improve the Notebook OpenSciEd experience. We're always happy to hear feedback from teachers who are using the platform, and we try to take that feedback really seriously to improve the lesson content as well as kind of the way the platform works. So keep an eye out for these future updates to Notebook, and definitely reach out to us if you need any more information about PocketLab Notebook and OpenSciEd.